Is it possible for you to generate over $100,000 in the next 6 months? As crazy as that sounds, it is possible. And in this video, I'm sitting down with Peter Voogd, author of 6 Months to Six Figures, and he's gonna be sharing his steps on how you can do it coming up. Hey, what's up, Think Media? Sean Cannell here, bringing you the best tips and tools for building your influence with online video. And right now, we're in the middle of our business-minded content creator series with best-selling author Peter J. Voogd. How's it going, man?
Amazing. Excited to be here. Energized.
And in this series, we've been talking about how to leverage social media to grow your brand and business faster, and his 6 steps for going from 6 months to 6 figures. Now, this is part 2. So if you haven't seen part 1 in the series, click the YouTube card or click the link in the description below to go watch that first. But we're gonna dive right into the second 3 steps right now, which actually starts with consistent energy and motivation, having that inner drive. What do you mean by that?
So once you gain some clarity, you elevate your circle of influence. By the way, hopefully everyone listens and goes and watches the first one because it won't make as much sense. But once you shift your circle of influence and you start having clarity on what's next, you have to have energy that keeps you through the day. And it's an ultimate competitive advantage for me. So when I finally was getting crystal clarity on exactly what I wanted in life out of business, I had to have the energy to get up early, to motivate my team, to inspire, to stay focused. So that's what this means, is getting inner drive and energy locked in, because this is a competitive advantage in business, because a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of CEOs don't focus on energy. They don't focus on what they eat. They don't focus on the morning routine. They just grind and they get worn out so easily, and it causes illness.
So back when you were dead broke and when you were sleeping on a mattress on a floor, Tacoma, Washington, what were some of your habits then? And then what are some of the things you started to shift?
So I would wake up and go. That was a bad one. So I never got clear. I never kind of sat and thought about my goals. I never worked out. I just got up and went. That's a bad one. I ate based off pleasure versus vitality. That killed me. I thought I had to do everything myself in my business. I was Superman. And when you start to do everything yourself and you don't delegate, not only do you get frustrated and you don't get results, you start to resent the things that you love. So those are a couple things I was doing, and I wasn't paying attention to my emotions and my mood, and I would respond to situations and to my team based off emotion versus intelligence. So responding based off emotion and mood already will drive people crazy. I also woke up and went. I wasn't strategic. When I did that, the day would just kind of hit me, and the day would control me versus me controlling my day. When I ate unhealthy, I was always tired. So those bad habits caused me, once again, to be broke and frustrated and have no confidence. Then I shifted it. So that's what we'll kind of dive into. But that was the bad habits, man. And health and energy is a really uncomfortable topic for unhealthy people.
Yeah.
Like, health? It's like, if you want to know how important health and energy is, go ask someone who does not have it anymore. Yeah. That's how you find out. Go ask someone that doesn't have no health anymore. Hey, how important is health? It's everything. So I made it a habit, and I made it a movement in our business, in my direct sales company. We're gonna be healthy. We're gonna have a competitive advantage. I want you guys to be the healthiest team, the most vibrant and the most energized team, but I had to lead by example. I can't say we're gonna be healthy and then bring in McDonald's. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where it started. I finally had clarity. I had a circle of influence. I had confidence now. Now it's like, I gotta stay energized. Yeah. So there's a lot of things you can do to stay energized, but I call it kind of like the energy explosion. And it starts with being conscious of your morning routine. And there's a lot of things out there that are like 9 steps to morning routines, 40 steps, 4 steps. I'm not big on that. I know everyone's different. And I don't like a lot of people that promote this is the only way to do something. My morning routine's different than other people's. So here's what I realized. There's 2 outcomes to a morning routine. And you can get this any way you want based on who you are, based on your past experience in morning routines. But I know that every single successful person on the planet I've ever met in the last 15 years has a morning routine. Yeah. You don't need to start it at 4 a.m. or 6 a.m. or 8 a.m. That's up to you. But the 2 things are, make sure you're in a better state of mind, get yourself in a courageous state of mind to attack the day. So get your mindset right. Second thing is, what are you gonna do for the day? Having it strategically mapped out with the toughest thing first. That's the two things. So whether you have to work out, whether you have to journal, whether you have to meditate, whether you have to go for a run or jump in the pool, some people take cold showers, some people run, some people like write down their goals. That's irrelevant because my morning routine is different than yours, which is different than Chelsea's, different than everyone here, right? So the reality is I had to get clear on my morning routine and it was just testing. So I would test different morning routines. So finally I was like, this is the one that gets me the most fired up and gives me the two outcomes. I'm fired up, I'm in the zone, and I know exactly what I'm doing that day. So that's the first step is morning routines. And people are obsessed, some people might not like this, but people are obsessed with waking up early, like at 3 or 4, 5 a.m. There's people that in the industry are like, I'm getting up at 3 today. It's like, why?
Yeah, right.
Chill out, dude.
Yeah.
Like 3 o'clock. Some of my best friends are in the creative space. Some are authors, some are in Hollywood, they're entertainers, some run big companies. Some people I know wake up at 8:30, but they also work till sometimes 11 at night. And sometimes they wake up later. Here's the key. Figure out when you have the most willpower and when you're most in the zone. Forget the morning, night. Forget society's like, well, it's 5 o'clock, gotta leave. Well, it's Friday, it's relaxing for the weekend. Forget that and start living in your own world. That'll give you more energy. Don't take the stigmas of society. Well, it's 5, I hate that. So whether you wake up at 4 or 5, and it depends on what stage you're at in your business. When I was at my sacrifice stage, Sean, when I was like trying to build the business, I would wake up at 5:30 or 6. Now, sometimes I wake up at 6, sometimes 7:30, but I always place my toughest tasks where I have the most willpower. Sometimes it's 7:30 at night, sometimes it's 11 in the morning. You have to know yourself, and that's how you kind of get energy in that aspect as well. So that's one of the first things.
And so powerful. Think media, of course, we're talking about how to get views and social media tactics. And you're obviously still here watching this video, but you might be kind of leaning back. Well, is health really relevant? Is energy really relevant? It is everything. And especially when you're in that side hustle season, because I've heard you say this, you need to be able to hustle all day, not just at your job, but then get home and hustle more in your side hustle. Like when you want to make a different future, achieve different goals and go beyond maybe the water level of your peer group or whatever's happening around you, you've got to summon some different energy to be able to tackle those hard tasks, right?
100%.
Really grind.
100%. And here's what I've experienced. When you're tired, you make stupid decisions. And when you're not in the right state of mind, you make dumb decisions that are easy. I was talking to Ariana Huffington, the founder of Huffington Post, like years ago, and we had a conversation. She spoke to my academy. We had a deep conversation about sleep and other stuff. And she said one of the reasons Huffington Post almost failed is I had burnout. I wasn't taking care of my energy, and every single decision I made was based out of frustration, anger, hunger, tired, fear, she always was in a bad mood. And she goes, I made this flip where I started only making decisions when I was in a good state of mind. And I'm like, damn, that was a breakthrough for me back in the day. I was like, I'm never gonna make a decision unless I'm in a good state of mind. So never make it. So here's my point. If you want energy, never make a decision when you're tired, hungry, frustrated, lonely, discouraged. Just don't make a decision.
Strong.
Just stop making it. Like when you wake up, first thing in the morning, it's like, what do people, I just want to sleep in again. You're making coward decisions because you're tired. You're not a coward, but your decision's cowardly. So don't make decisions when you're not in a good state of mind, which is almost all business owners. And then they're like, wow, why is my results going down? You're making dumb decisions, period.
Yeah.
So that was a breakthrough. And some of these things I wish I knew back in the day, but I only learned this a couple years ago, and it's transformed my energy and my business. So that's another key, is just don't make decisions. And you can't separate your body from your mind. When you're stronger physically, you're stronger mentally. So I started really protecting my body. I started working out a couple times a week. I wasn't working out at all. I got into P90X. I worked out 5 days a week. This was at the heat of my sacrifice stage when I was trying to build the 6 figures. I was working out 5 days a week, and it gave me so much energy. You're more resourceful. You're more focused. And then the last thing is I just paid attention to what I put in my body. I think things that really kill your energy are the 3 things that I've seen, Sean, in the past kill people's energy is caring what people think. Like fearing what other people think is an energy killer. The wrong food, eating based off vitality or based off pleasure versus vitality is bad. And then doing things you hate. If you can just do things you love and delegate everything else, which we talked about in another video in this playlist, and if you can just eat based off energy and vitality, and you can just stop fearing people, your energy is already sky high. And this was a breakthrough. And some people might not like this, but eating wise, think about it logically. Like pizza's right there or a cheeseburger. Like you enjoy it for freaking 5 seconds.
And then you suffer the consequences for the next few hours. It carries over to the next day.
Exactly. It's like, oh, that pizza's so good. Are you still 3 years old? Where you still enjoy, like, it's okay to eat bad, but not people just eat based off pleasure. And they're like, why am I overweight? Why am I out of shape? Why am I tired? It's because you're just focusing on 4 seconds of pleasure and not thinking about long-term success and health. And I just got obsessed with wanting my future self to thank me for my decisions today. And it's just a game changer. And some people won't even listen to it.
Yeah.
They'll go eat a pizza after this. Fine, but don't complain about being tired or not having the results.
Or, complain about your results. Well, man, this is powerful. This is some deep stuff that's really leveling us up. Here's the thing, Think Media, our commitment is to help you build a real business. We're not just here to dabble on social media, get likes, comments. We're here to build a real business, and that matters the state you're in, your energy and vitality, which brings us to the next tip, which is creating intentional result rituals.
Let me say this on energy too. My mindset was, I was never healthy before that. I had such a disadvantage coming from a small town and having no one really believe in me. I had a disadvantage. So I'm like, I need every advantage possible. And when I started eating healthier and I felt my energy go up, I was more resourceful. I'm like, I'm keeping this up. So some people might already have all the advantages. They might not need to do that, but I needed to do that because my back was against the wall. That's why I focused on energy. So it's not talked about a lot, energy and food and stuff like that. That's why I bring that up. So I have energy now. I've shifted my circle of influence. I have clarity. I have confidence. I'm fired up. Now it's time to really build a business. Like, I remember I had some great results for a week. Like my sales team was crushing it. I was in the zone. I was fired up and energized. And I'm like, I'm a business owner. I'm a CEO. I'm leaving. I'm gonna go on vacation. Because you think like when you're the owner, you're like, hey, you can do what you want. Literally, I left for a week. Being accurate, 65% of my team just quit, like my sales team.
Wow.
And I'm like, I thought you guys were fired up, but I didn't really set up the systems. I wasn't really being a good leader. So my business like crumbled. So I finally had momentum and I was like, I'm gonna leave. I'm the CEO, I can do what I want. Worst decision ever. And my mentor at the time said, you have to understand this, never forget this. Your job as the CEO and as the business owner is to produce results consistently, whether you feel like it or not, whether you're there or not, whether you're sick or not, whether you're tired or not. Doesn't matter. No one cares what's going on. Your job is to produce results. Whether it's through your team, fine. Some CEOs will leave for 3 months and their business will crush it. Some leave for 2 days and their business crumbles. So that's all in the leadership module or the leadership video we did. But the reality is, I had to create systems and rituals in place because I think the amount of stress someone has in their life and business is always due to the lack of systems they have in place. And a lot of my systems came from frustrations. So anytime I was frustrated, I put a system in place. So sadly, I was kind of waiting till the back was against the wall, but the reason for the book and these videos is you don't make the same mistakes. So anything that is proven to be important to you for your business, you need to create systems for it. Marketing non-negotiables and systems, health non-negotiables and systems, money non-negotiables and systems. So I will define mine, but think about what are the 3 or 4 areas right now in your life and business that are the most important needle movers that have to happen every week, no matter what. So let me flip it. What are a couple things that you guys like track every week that are important to your business?
Yeah, I think results rituals be like on Think Media, we do a tech video on Tuesday, we do a tips video on Thursday.
Always.
We always do that. And then we always have a weekly newsletter. Video Influencers always has a weekly newsletter. Of course, we're running like things like ads now. Our business has got more complex, so there's more things, but actually.
So there's results ones. So he's getting the results. There's probably subscriber non-negotiables. There's probably for you things you need to keep yourself focused, non-negotiables to happen every week. That's what I mean. So his are complex, which is why he's building a huge business. If you're just starting out, one of mine was like health rituals. Another one of mine was mindset rituals. Another one of mine was marketing rituals for my sales team to make sure we always were getting leads. So it depends, once again, on your specific business. So here's an example. I pulled some of these up. And this was back in 2011, 12, 13. So these are the ones I had. They changed now. But mindset rituals, talk to a mentor or somebody playing the game at a higher level than you twice a week. Don't listen or watch the news ever.
And by the way, that would change your life. If twice a week you talk to somebody that's in the network, a couple tips ago, right? And you stop watching the news, start putting, this shifts the game.
100%.
And over time, it'll shift it even more. All right, next one.
So Monday, and this is me back in the day, and people always ask, because I was 23, if we were just being authentic, because I don't care not to be, 24 now, I'm making 300, 400 grand a year. And I went from broke to 400K a year. And people are always like, this is why though. These rituals is why. Another ritual for my mindset, Monday through Thursday, I only listen to personal growth and business audios, nothing else. Nothing else. No music, nothing. I paused and reflected weekly, and I had a morning routine that was congruent to my best self. So that was mindset rituals. So every week that happened. My health rituals, eat foods that energize me and give me vitality, work out 6 days a week, short, powerful workouts, drink a lot of water throughout the day, 60, 70% greens, don't eat past 7:30. Productivity rituals, always have clarity and look at my goals daily, make decisions based off intelligence, not emotion or mood, complete my weekly master plan every Sunday, execute my early morning routine, 5 to 6, 5x5 rule, look at my goals for 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening. I ask myself these 3 questions every single morning. What am I grateful for? What am I excited about? What am I committed to making happen no matter what? My non-negotiables for business are different, right? So you have to figure out your non-negotiables. What results have to happen in your business, whether you're there or not, that you have to track. And then just put those in your schedule and then sell yourself on those to make sure there's no other option. If you're 99% sold on them, 1% doubt, you're usually out in business. So you got to be 100% sold.
And Peter, wouldn't you say these were written down? Like if it's not written, it's not real. It's better to have a short pencil and a long mind.
Notepads.
Right? So these were written down. So you were able to, whether you felt like it or not, or you woke up groggy. I wake up and sometimes I don't know what to do. Meaning like my mind's just blank. You need to plug into a system. Plug in and say, okay, well, let me think about what I'm grateful for. So would you pull it up and like read so that way it kept you on track?
100%. And on a side note, you have to have an in the zone ritual. This was a big one too. So anytime I wasn't in the zone, I had like 4 or 5 things on a note card that I would do to get myself back in the zone. So if I'm out of it, if I'm not motivated, I would call a mentor, listen to my favorite song. I would do a quick workout. I would look at what I'm grateful for and I'd think about my reasons and I'd shift back into it. So a lot of people, when they get out of the state of mind that gets them results, they're like, whatever. And they start having bad momentum, negative momentum. So that's what I did is I made sure that I always was focused on the things that I've already sold myself on. And for me, thinking back, it was always my reasons. So I would always look at my strongest 5 reasons of why I was doing what I was doing. All the people I let down, dropping out of college, no one thinking I was gonna be successful, coming from a small town. All these things like drove me. And that's what got me focused. But the rituals got the results.
Yeah, super powerful. Think Media, smash the like button if you're getting value out of this video, and definitely check out other videos in this series. We're covering other topics besides this 2-part. So if you want to check that out, of course, the playlist is in the description below. This brings us to the final step out of 6 in the 2-part series, which is continual growth and sustained greatness. What does this mean?
So once you become successful, that's kind of when your success really starts. A lot of people think, oh, when I get to the NBA, it's over. I'm there. No, that's when it starts. Right when you make 6 figures, that's when it starts. So your growth doesn't stop when you become successful. That's when it really begins.
So true.
So these are things that exponentially start growing your business. So the first one for me of sustained greatness and learning was I had to become a people developer. How to develop people, how to put yourself in their perspective, how to hold them to higher standards. I used to ask my sales team and the people that were in my key staff, do you mind if I hold you to higher standards? Like I see the best in you and I want to help you reach that next level of success, knowing your team's hot buttons, knowing what really drives them, responding based on their perspective and their core values, not what you think they want, dropping your ego, being more strategic in developing people and developing their skills, developing their mindset. Every time I would learn something, every time I would read a book, I would then teach it to my staff. I would then teach them to be more resourceful. This blew my business up. I would teach people how to be resourceful and not need me. So if they ever brought me a problem, I said, here's the deal. Anyone can bring a problem. I see so much for you. I know you want to be a doctor in a couple years. I'd feel like a bad mentor not holding you to high standards because they're not going to take it. They're going to take you seriously if you actually learn these skills, and you're going to be the one that has the experience to get the position. So I would make sure that they knew when they were not performing, and I would be tough on their results, but soft on them as people as well. So becoming a people developer and developing people, I think was a big key for me, because a lot of people, it's one thing to develop yourself and to like maybe be a salesperson or create videos, but to build a team, as you know, it's a whole different ballgame. So starting to really understand people at their core. So when someone brought me a problem, I would say, hey, next time bring me 2 solutions to the problem. And eventually they just solve their own problems. And because as the CEO, as the main person, what happens? All the problems come to you unless you create a self-sufficient team that all takes leadership seriously. The goal of leadership is not to create the most followers, it's to create the most leaders who then create more leaders. So that was the first thing, is just become a people developer and start developing people on top of developing yourself as well. And then for me, there was a lot of experimentation with systems, with marketing, with new teams, with personnel, with all kinds of stuff. So you want experiments, not perfection. I had to give up the need to be perfect to be authentic. And I used to, being a perfectionist probably cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to be perfect. And some people watching, I'm a perfectionist. You just got to know when to go all in and spend the extra time, and when just to say, it's good.
Like done is better than perfect.
Yeah. And then reinvesting my profits wisely was a big one. So the 4 things that every millionaire I've ever came in contact with, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to be millionaires that are watching. And there's 1,700 new millionaires created every single day in the US, every day. Over 600,000. And I know 16-year-olds that are becoming millionaires, and I know broke 40-year-olds.
Yeah.
The world is the craziest it's ever been.
Yeah.
And it's adapt or die. It's not like, that's not fair. Who cares if it's fair or not?
Sure.
It doesn't matter. But if you want to understand how to get to the next level and go from 6 to 7, it's investing your profits wisely. Here's the 4 things, and this is kind of what I mean when I say continue growth. First thing is investing back in yourself. Every successful person invests back in their mindset, themselves, these videos, courses, whatever, masterminds, whatever, workshops. Second thing is investing back in their business. Personnel, marketing, advertising, branding, investing the money back into the business to build it. Third thing is assets that make their money work for them. Membership sites, maybe they're investing in startups, maybe it is something like real estate, duplexes, fourplexes, whatever. Investing the money you make back in things that make you more money. And the 4th thing is memorable experiences, because this is a whole different level of fulfillment and results when you can take your whole family on a trip to Fiji, all expenses paid. Or when you go on a trip with your wife or husband and you've never really had the money to fly first class, or you invest that. But this is the key, Sean. The orders have to make up. If you go on a trip and spend a lot of money without investing in the other 3, you're going to be frustrated and be like, I got to get back to work. You want to almost create it where your lifestyle is kind of like, and such an inspiring lifestyle that you have, you don't have to escape reality, right? Yep. So that's what I did. I invested in myself, back in my business. I kept investing all the profits, and we slowly grew from there. And I created a dream team. So once I had my dream team, I learned how to develop people, and I continued to master my craft. I continued to get good at inspiring, motivating, marketing, advertising, branding, personnel. My resources were maximized, and I invested my profits. It just kept growing and growing and growing and growing. And that's where I think I see a lot of people stop.
Yeah.
They get the 6 figures, they're satisfied. It's not about the money, it's about the progress. That's the biggest motivation. So you said something earlier about you were already at 6 figures. The book is really focused on how it doesn't matter if you're at $1 billion in sales or 0. It's about having the best 6 months you've ever had in your entire life, which sets you up for the next best 6 months, and the momentum takes over. So
and just compounding those. And so think media, smash like if you're getting value. This is some fire content. And I love this commitment. You mentioned people might hit 6 figures and they get satisfied. I think there's a big difference between just trying to do some tactics to hit a target so you can just relax, and changing your lifestyle and your mindset, and a commitment to continual growth. Because I would say that I've seen that as well. I've realized that money doesn't satisfy. Now it's kind of maybe easy to say, and some people resent that because...
Well, the people that resent it are usually ones that don't have money.
Exactly, right? But it really does.
So make money and realize it's not about money.
And so we learned like impact, growth, maximizing our potential. And so no matter what you do here, you can apply these 6 tips, and they'll help you hit your first 10,000, or help you get that podcast or that YouTube channel profitable. But then it compounds, and then you might hit 6, but it could go fast. Once it really starts to compound, there's a tipping point, as Malcolm Gladwell would write, when you've put in the work. All of these things they can't not. If you're getting clarity, you're getting your energy up, you're with the right network. Any final thoughts as we've hit these 6 steps? Of course, Think Media, pick up the book. I listen to it on audio. We'll link to everything in the description below, as well as all of Peter's accounts, so you can connect with them.
These chairs are no joke, by the way.
Right, yeah, we're just bouncing.
Don't edit this. We're being authentic here.
But Peter, land the plane on just some final thoughts now that we've gone through this process. And of course, people can get the book for more.
Yep. So 2 thoughts. One of the biggest things on this last tip that I realized is all successful people, their speed of implementation is faster than everybody else's. So how fast from you hearing what we're saying and watching this video will you actually execute? Most people, it sounds great. I'll do it next week. But the reality is the people that are at the top of their game, they're very fast executors. There was a story, I was interviewing the vice president of the Clippers, who is good friends with Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, and Kevin Garnett, all these players. And he told me a story about Kobe Bryant. I'll end it with this. He said that he was practicing a move in his living room from this high school kid on the All-American game. So this is Kobe. He's already an all-star. He's crushing it. He's practicing this move nonstop from a high schooler. So one, you can learn from anybody. But two, he then saw him a couple of weeks later at the gym, still practicing, same move. He's practicing the same, I don't know if it's a fadeaway or what, but the guy asked, Kobe, how long are you gonna practice that till? And he's like, until. And he stopped. He just kept doing it. Until what? He goes, until. And the guy's like a week, a month, a year? He's like, until it's mastered. So implement fast and don't stop until you actually get the results. That's the game changer. And the last thing I'll leave people with is the number one reason I've seen people not thrive, and I have this in my last chapter, Sean, it's now matters more than ever. Most people are like, someday I'll be successful. Someday I'll invest in a book. Someday I'll bet on myself. Not now. They're waiting for all the stars to align, and they never do. So now matters more than ever. Most people spend the first half of their life, they're like, I'm just so young. And then the second half, I'm just too old.
Yeah.
Now matters.
Now matters.
Period.
Peter Voogd, hey, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and then make sure to check out the playlist, because besides part 1, if you didn't see it yet, and the other videos in this series, we are committed to helping you go further, faster in your business, in your brand, so you can not just make a great living, but also a great difference in the world and with the people you're called to impact. Peter, appreciate you, man.
Got you.
We'll see you in the next video. Peace.